Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, and this is Pearls of Wisdom and Food. We talk about keto, carnivore, carnivish, emotions, holidays, sugar, giving up things, adding in things, tweaking, and all of that good stuff. We call ourselves turtles, snowflakes, pickles, no matter what club members, and Goldilocks. Not only that, but we're whips. Most of us are whips. What's a whip? WIP. A work in progress. Are you a whip too? We've got so many names. Can you imagine if we had to sign all of our characters after our name at the end of a letter or at the beginning of one? Yep, that's what we are. We are works in progress, and sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but that's okay because we understand we're a work in progress. If we were perfect, you wouldn't be listening to me for sure, and you wouldn't be listening to all the other people, and you wouldn't be minding your P's and Q's and your macros and all of those good things. You'd be just lying along, maybe having that standard American diet, taking a shoebox full of meds, and feeling this is how it goes when you get older. It happened with my parents, it happens with my sisters and brothers, and gosh, I'm old enough that it's even happening with my kids now because they're old enough. It doesn't have to be that way. And I don't know, I guess I don't question it. Sometimes when I'm reading my beloved Men's Health magazine, I sit there and I say, is this okay just to have the meat and the eggs? And am I going to be okay? And then, I'll watch a few videos with carnivore experts, carnivore people that do this daily. I'm a member of Facebook groups that have a lot of women doing carnivore. And I say, yeah, I think this is the way that I want to go. It's working for me. My numbers work for me. I have, what is it, hyper cholesterol, something like that. My cholesterol's in the 500s, but my other markers are all just perfect. And so I keep doing what I'm doing, and I watch, believe, and incorporate into my life all the reasons that my body does have so much cholesterol in it. And for those that talk about it in a good way, it's a healing thing. It helps your body. Every single cell needs it. And so I go with that, and it's like, well, it is what it is. She died, but last night she had another steak. Okay. Um, so, I just read a thing about what somebody's supposed to do in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s in men's health. And, I'm kind of laughing because it's like, okay, so I'm supposed to have my oatmeal and I'm supposed to have my salad and I'm supposed to put my piece of salmon on top of my salad. And I kind of laughed like as if that were how it could be, but it's not. And so yes, I'm mostly carnivore, like most of the people that you might listen to these days or, see commenting below. And it just works. I am not a meat, salt, water carnivore person. I am a meat, meat heavy eating person. And I do have the add-on, I have pretty much the same thing each week. And so I have basically beef and eggs Monday through Friday. Saturday is my mostly meat and cheese meets a pizza. And then on Sunday, I have a steak from the Big Green Egg with a little bit of Brussels sprouts. That's it. I mean, you can tell what day of the week it is by what foods I'm having. Tomorrow, though, I might buy a little piece of salmon. How does that sound? To me, it sounds interesting to have salmon and beef and maybe a couple of fried eggs. We'll see. But being a work in progress, we always hold that option open that we can have certain things and we can change up certain things and we can bring back in certain things. Do the people that do the carnivore way of eating today plan on doing it for the rest of their lives? A good section do, but a lot of people do it as an elimination diet to see, to give up a lot of things, just have that meat, water, maybe coffee, maybe something extra. and see how it works for them, and then maybe add in things. Some people don't plan on doing carnivore for the rest of their life. They just plan on figuring out what it is that their body wants, needs, digests easily, doesn't have a lot of different side effects to them. I mean, can food have side effects? Well, I guess what the food processors and manufacturers do to us now, food is a drug, and not necessarily a healthy one. So there are side effects to it, right? And so, I guess a lot of us go by what our blood markers tell us, our labs tell us. And fortunately, there's great doctors out there like Dr. Ken Berry that will tell you, you need your pad and paper right here to be writing down what you need, what he suggests for lab work to be done. And I know being an old lady on Medicare with my Blue Cross Blue Shield supplement, it doesn't cover everything that he says. So there could be a lot of out-of-pocket expenses to see what works. And but he's very good about it. And if you do listen to those videos of what labs you should do or ask for or pay attention to, I guess it could help. And you're the investment. You are, you are it. And so sometimes maybe spending a little money on your health labs would be not a bad idea. I know people that have had him for consultations and the blood work, and his team that have given suggestions and guidance and phone consults and things like that. Dr. Darren Schmidt, SCHMIDT, is also somebody that does phone consults and has a whole bunch of battery of tests that he would suggest too. And so these are self-paying sort of ventures, so just beware of that. But they could give insight. And because Dr. Darren Schmidt went through a whole bunch of health issues when it was discovered that there was mold in the building that his office practice was in, that took a couple of years to undo and heal from. And, until he discovered that, he had no idea why he felt sick all the time. So there's interesting things. And yeah, in our environment today, it's not necessarily the healthiest one. I know Suzanne Summers had a book. I think I've got it too. I'm looking at my bookcase. But I know that she had a book come out too. And there was a whole bunch of toxic issues in the house that they had. I guess their house that they lived in, she and Alan, had a fire, and they had to move to a rental, and the rental was plagued with toxic environmental issues, and they both got deathly sick. And of course, when you're older and you get sick, coming back from being sick could take longer than bouncing back at 20, as well as discovering what it is, finding the specialist that will deal with you. I think you might have to have, pockets that are full of some expendable cash too. So we do what we do. And if you have gone mostly carnivore, how are you feeling? Do you feel so much better? Are the things like your aches and pains and sleeping and bathroom and energy levels and mood, have they all kind of changed since you've adopted this lifestyle? I know for me it has. I haven't had an ibuprofen now for almost 8 or 9 days. And I'm not sure if I had an oxalate dump. Of course, there's no, neon light that's going to go on and said, yeah, that buildup that you had from all those years of all those oxalates. I drank almond milk every day. I had spinach all the time. I had big ass salads all the time. And even our beloved berries. When I was listening to a Sally Norton video interview, if you just put her on the top of your YouTube or just Google her, a whole bunch of interviews will come up. But I do it in YouTube, so the interviews will come up on YouTube and I can listen. And she is fascinating. And the way that she began her oxalate journey was because of vulva pain. And I guess it's like not a snicker in the corner sort of thing. It's big, it's real, and it's painful. And so she went through all of that. And when she came out the other side, it was the oxalates, and she has devoted her life to figuring out what happens with all of this. And so she's pretty helpful. Dr. Georgia Ede is pretty helpful. I find that being a woman, I like to turn to women that have gone through a lot of like what we as mostly carnivore women would go through, because it's just interesting. It used to be, I mean, I just remember growing up where a woman wouldn't even dream of ordering a steak in a restaurant. It would be like, are you kidding? Having a steak and eating it all? Never. It would be the salad with a little piece of salmon or chicken on it. And you get a doggy bag, and that would be it. And then, it's so funny how, I mean, I spent most of my adult years in bloat. I mean, I was always looking for the perfect Spanx that would, hide part of the bloat after going out for an evening, out to dinner, doing one of those things where it's just like everything caused bloat. And being sober, I wasn't getting bloated from drinking, half a keg of beer. I was bloated probably from drinking Diet Cokes, because that was the right thing to do as a recovering alcoholic going out. So I'd go out and have, all of these bloatable meals with a few Diet Cokes, depending on how long the evening was. And it's just like, it was just part of the deal. I just figured, doesn't everybody go through this? And I would, living in a resort area, it's so funny because I would always think of the people that, pack their little size 10 or 12 white, kicky little summer pants to wear, for all of their fun things that they do on the Cape in the summer. And, 2 days into it, and, their little pot is just extended. It's not going to go back anytime soon. They're bloated all the time. This is not fun, and of course, I don't know what they're thinking, but I know that when I get into that place, I'm always thinking drastic measures, like an 800 calorie day with the same salad with the chicken on it, and, less oil on it, and making it through, and maybe only having 2 meals or whatever. And, then at night, of course, blowing it out the door with the dessert that, you begin to share with people. Like, let's get one of those and one of those and one of those, and we'll pass them around with our forks and our spoons. Okay, okay. And like, why are we bloated? And so, anyway, it's also interesting for me hearing about how people get to being mostly carnivore and stay being mostly carnivore month after month, not just for the first 30 days. And now what are you going to do? And so if you do eat like I do, mostly carnivore, then you're a work in progress, just like people that are transitioning or are keto with a meat heavy food plan. Maybe I'm keto with a meat heavy food plan. I don't know. I that label above our heads, it's like, okay, whatever. But I guess I say mostly carnivore because it is mostly beef and eggs with the smallest dish of Brussels sprouts, and then like 2 tablespoons of almond flour in the pizza that I make for Greg, the custodian, and me. So it's interesting, and I'm always interesting to hear how you do it. What do you people think about supplements that have all those starch fillers and all of those sort of things? Do you think you get what you're intending to get when you have something like that? When you have these supplements, do you think they do something for you that without them your health would suffer? How do you feel about that? I'm down to magnesium glycinate and vitamin D supplements. I gave up the diatomaceous earth that I was having whipped up in my coffee every single day for years, 5 or 6 years, since I became low carb, high fat. I gave that up, and I gave up all of the supplements. I've got, this tray of unused supplements that I used to have. I still have a little magnesium and potassium electrolyte powder that I add my lemon juice to. And, I'm even wondering about the efficacy of that. I drink my mineral water, so I have that. I salt everything, including my coffee and my water, and all of my meats and eggs. And I have a spread of salts, each one for a different taste or a different type of meat, from the French flakes to the cherrywood smoked sea salt that I just got from the Salt Company, just simple, the Salt Company. And that's who I was getting my Epsom salts from too. And I have a great big bag of that, so I won't need them for a while. And I cut that with the Dr. Teal's for baths to get maybe my skin absorbing the magnesium in the tubby. And so if you look up the Salt Company on Amazon, you will see, gorgeous, delightful, wonderful salts. And, then I've got the Redmonds, which is my standard go-to. It comes from Utah, Idaho, some salt mines out there. So that's a pretty pure, unadulterated salt. So that's how I do my deal. How do you do your food plan? You're mostly carnivore. Have you stuck with supplements that you've always taken? Have you cut back on them? Are you like me? You would take one every other day just to use them up and not replace. How do you fill your day, your gut, your health, your program with supplements that you used to take? And when you read the fillers, you just go, could these be doing my body any good? I just have always questioned the fillers, or now I definitely question them, whereas before it was like, that 7-day med thing where you put in all your meds for 7 days and take a handful. I don't do that anymore. So I'm just wondering, how are you with yours? We are all WIPs, works in progress, and that works for me. I like discovering things that make me feel optimum. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom in Food with Keto, Carnivore, and Carnivish, and accountability coaching is always available on my email address. You will find, if you email me, I got info. I got info. So thanks all for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Food and Wisdom. I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye for now.